Thorn Libre's biggest expansion is coming out in a few days, and there's a bunch of questions from new players and people that want to come back into the game is if you can keep up as a new player with current players that have been playing, grinding, getting a lot of materials, or paid win players spending a lot of money to get progress in this game. And now I have 1,000+ hours in this game. It is currently my main game that I'm playing right now, and I have spent absolutely $0 on this game as a completely free to play player and have no all. So I will be giving you guys realistic expectations to what to expect going into Talandre, which is the big new expansion, and if you can actually keep up. So let's jump into it. So the main thing you guys want to be looking at, right, when you guys start the game is one thing that Thorn is doing to make it easier for new players to come back into the game is giving you T2 blue gear. So T2 blue gear is basically, this is T1 epic gear. But before you got this T1 epic gear, you actually dropped the blue gear. Could get blue gear through mods when you guys were leveling up to make it easier, because this game has a system where you can transfer blue gear into epic gear to recover some of the materials and costs used, right? So they will be giving T2 gear to new players to get be able to catch up much better. And the T2 blue gear, from what I'm hearing, what they said so far is it will be just as good, if not better, than the T1 epic gear. So the T2 blue gear would be good, right, to get your feet into the game. So it would be a really good start for new players. And then the next thing that we're going to take a look at is the milestones. So in this game, we have something called milestones, which are these. Now, when tier 2 drops, it's not going to drop all the dungeons, all the bosses, everything at once. This game follows a milestone system where things unlock over time. So if you look at, for example, this, some certain things like certain areas like field bosses or dungeon, like open world dungeons, unlocked after several days into the game, right? So this will be the same thing for tier 2. When tier 2 drops, you can get certain set pieces of your gear already, like for example chest pieces and stuff, while accessories that you will need will drop later when the milestone unlocks. So it's not going to be like a race to finishing your gear. It's still going to be, of course, a race to finish certain parts of your gear, because they will drop in the dungeons, they will drop in certain field bosses, but you cannot finish the best set or your best gear on day one or in the first weeks. It will take several months to unlock some of the milestones. If you're looking to get the better accessories and rings, etc., it will take time. Even with weapons, they were going to release new waves of weapons, because early, for let me give you an example, right? If you look at the auction house right here, you will look at some weapons. Now, when the game first came out, you could get Chernobog sword, which was good. You could get other parts of weapons which were good. However, when the milestone unlocked, and you could suddenly start getting Nirma sword, people start replacing the Chernobog sword, right, which is a field boss weapon. So even after some time, when the new milestone comes, there'll be going to be a new type of weapons to grind for and work for. So don't worry about that. As a new player, it's still going to be difficult getting these items, but you're not going to be over capped by players, right? They won't be able to get all of these better items, even if they have to have stack blessing, everything. So it's going to be overall a good experience, and I would say better than most like progression MMOs who has like a progression system like this. So it's not like a sandbox MMO where you actually have to progress your character. It's not as bad as most. However, it's not only like, it's not like I said, it's gonna be a much better way for new players to catch up, but it's not perfect. And let me explain you why it's not perfect, right? Now, right now, what a lot of current players are doing is they're doing something called blessing stacking. Blessing stacking is basically that you will stack blessings, like here you can see on my weapon right here. I stacked 4,000 blessing on this weapon. And the reason why I did this, you can see down here, is 4K blessings. When I transfer this into this weapon right here, I will get 5K blessings. And when I transfer this into a purple tier 2 weapon, that will make it easier for me to get the traits, which are these. This is the most expensive thing in the game by far. This is what it is pay to win in the game, because these traits right here that you guys see here, these are the ones that cost money. These are the things that cost to upgrade, and it's what people spend the most money on. Now, by doing blessing stacking, it will reduce my costs by a lot, like even up to like 80% cost, if not more, if you have a blessing stacked. And a lot of current players are doing this, right? They're blessing stacking, so they're ready for this. Now they will save a lot of loose end, which is the truth compared to new players. So as a new player, if you're not blessing stacking, you're gonna progress slowly, right? You'll be able to drop your weapon, the T2 weapon, in the dungeons fairly easy. Probably even some gear pieces, but to get the traits, this is gonna be what's gonna be difficult for you, because T2, like T1, getting T1 traits was hard for me as a free-to-play player, new player. It was hard, but in T2 it's gonna be even worse, because you require even more items to get the T2, right? So this is gonna be the biggest struggle. Getting full epic gear, full T2 epic gear would not be the problem. It's the traits that's gonna be the most difficult thing, and it is going to be pay to win, and it's gonna be hard to catch up. But you have to expect grinding. If you're not spending money in the game, it's gonna be a slow grind for you to be able to get these trades. It will probably take you weeks, if not months, to even get fully traded out. So you have to be realistic. And going into this, if you're not blessing stacking, you haven't done this, and getting back into the game, it's gonna be you're gonna have to compete with players that have already fully blessing stacks. However, remember, like I mentioned earlier, they're not gonna have all the gear pieces. They're gonna have certain pieces of gear because of the milestones that they've already blessing stacks. So you can kind of still keep up to some degree, but not fully. And then it's the currency, right? A lot of players have been saving currency. Now, I wouldn't sweat too much about this, because the currency that I'm talking about is Solent, which you will need to upgrade. Your Solent right here will be the main thing that you will need to upgrade. Lucent, a lot of players don't have much Lucent right now. They're all saving for T2. The market and their trading house is completely washed. So Lucent, not a lot of people have much Lucent. Like having 2K is already a lot compared to the market currently. So this Lucent, you don't have to worry about this. When you're already selling items into two, you're gonna get a bunch of Lucent. The main thing that people are sweating about is not having a Solent, not having enough currencies, like for example, materials to upgrade your stuff. Now, the game will, during T2, give you these items, okay? Because you will need a bunch of magic powder. You will need a bunch of precious emerald ores for masteries and stuff. You will need a lot of these different items to upgrade gear, to upgrade items, and a lot of people have stocked it, but T2 will be giving and awarding players a bunch of these materials. Like, just like in T1, where everybody started from zero, people start with a small advantage. But like I said, since you're progressing slowly, the milestones are unlocking gear slowly. You don't need all those materials at once. And the game will be awarding you through questing, through playing the game. So even though they have an advantage in materials, T2 will reward way more, both from solid, both from items and materials, to be able for you as a new player to catch up. So material wise, you're still at a small disadvantage, but it's not going to affect you in the big way like you think it will, right? Same with like the tokens and stuff, like the currency. Like people be saying, like you can see me right here. I have 800 of these tokens, 500 of these tokens, and these will all turn into T1 tokens, and it will give you new currency, which is going to be T2 tokens. And the T2 tokens that they will give you, everybody's starting with 0, and the T2 tokens is what you need to make T2 gear. So with this currency, the only thing I can do with this currency is make trade unlock stones. Trade unlock stones, for those that don't know, is if you want to unlock a trait on an item. Let's see, let me say if I have an item that doesn't have a trait on them. Basically, right here, if you look here, you can unlock traits on the item without buying the item if you have unlock stones. So this is basically what these currencies will help me out with, is get more trait unlock stones. Again, it will save me loosened. It will help me save, like most of this blessing stack that we're doing. These currencies that we have saved will help us with our Lucent, but at the end of the day, Lucent is a currency that people can buy, right? So everything that I'm doing right now as a free-to-play player is to make sure that that I can try kind of keep up with the players pay for it. But if you're a new player, you will struggle a little bit more. It is just a reality of the game, but it is not as bad as most MMOs, but you kind of have to expect being a little far behind. Now, my honest opinion to you guys is the most fun thing to do in an MMORPG or anything, in my opinion, is leveling up, grinding items, building your character. Because once you have actually fully built everything, you've gotten all your gear, you traded up everything, the game becomes way more boring in my opinion. I mean, I fully get my T1 stuff, and like the fun part was, of course, participating in PvP and stuff. It was fun and all, but the grind to level up is the best. So even though you feel like you're a little bit behind, which you're gonna be, the biggest thing that I would highly advise new players to do are through two things. One is find a good build, do some research, go to quest log. I will be making videos on builds too, but make a good build and follow it, and make sure that you're building after it. Good builds and bad builds is way more important than having the progress of your gear. Because if you have a good build, you're doing it will change a lot of things for you. Because let me give you an example, right? Let's say you're putting all your stats everywhere. You're getting some endurance, you're getting some evasion, you're doing all this stuff. It's not going to help you. And the reason for that is you need to either build, for example, endurance build or evasion build. And then you have to either build two main, you got to focus on two main endurances. If you try to focus on all three endurances, it's going to be easier during T2, of course. If you focus on all three endurances, you're going to be way weaker, right? So you have to see what the meta is. The meta is a lot of people are playing staff. You want to go heavy on magic endurance. But so if you're building and putting everything everywhere, what this game does is it plays around thresholds. So if you have high hit, you can hit people with high evasion. However, if you have a little bit of hit, a little bit of crit, a little bit of heavy attack, you're not going to be doing any damage. You have to hit certain thresholds on this. You have to build specifically. So build is one of the first things that I will highly advise everybody to do as a new player. And the second thing is alts. I don't run alts, but running an alt is really important as a new player if you want to make Lucent. Lucent will decide how your progress in this game is just a reality of it. Even if you use pay to win measures to get Lucent by buying it, or you're saving epic items and gear so you can material transmutate, or if you're waiting for T2 to come and you start grinding dungeons to sell those items, that is the way you're going to be making Lucent, and then you need Lucent to buy the stuff that you need, right? The best way as a new player, if you haven't been doing this, you haven't been saving up items, is to make an alt. Like I mentioned to you guys, the game will be giving T2 blue gear to everybody. If you level up an alt now, it will be really good, because going into T2, when you get that gear, you can actually play on that character, because remember, the daily currency, the dungeon currency, is capped, right? You get a certain amount of dungeon currency a day. So if you do these you do these dungeons, you get T2s, you sell them on the market, and you log your alt and do the same thing. The Lucent is character bound, not character bound, sorry, account bound. So if you get Lucent on your alt, you also get this on your main. So if you have alts, it's going to be huge. They're giving T2 blue gear away, so you can hit that threshold combat power requirement to get into these dungeons. So those are the two things as a new player I will highly advise you guys to do. Get a build and make an alt. I think it will give you a big advantage. Hopefully this help you guys out. Again, of course, if you're spending money, it will help you a lot in the game, progressing everything. If you're a current player that have been playing and grinding materials, it will give you an advantage, but it is not as bad as a lot of players think. But again, you have to be wary, you have to be cautious of this before getting into the game. But hopefully this helped you guys out, explaining how it works for new players. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be making a bunch of Throne Liberty content, a lot of build guides and stuff, so make sure to check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.